In this video, I will go over a few ways that you can trim out a garage door. And this one, of course, will be using stucco molding for stucco. So this wouldn't be for siding. So you would have stucco molding. Again, it would go even with the trim. Now you can always run it down. I've seen it before where we've needed to run it down lower to make it blend in with the weep screed. So you don't necessarily need to stop the molding here. And the same would go for the door trim if it needed to go somehow lower for some other reasons. Stucco molding is going to go over some type of flashing paper. This used for windows and doors. This will be in between the jamb and the stucco molding, and kind of a basic scenario for most of the trim that we put on, and flashing paper for a variety of different installations. So the flashing paper will go on first on the sides and then the top piece over it so that the water will drain through it. If you can imagine the building paper over this, any water that went over the building paper would go over the building paper and then onto the flashing paper and then work its way safely out of the home, you should say, or building. Mitered angle here, and we see the flashing paper, how it works out here. The other side, the jamb, the trim is removed. Top flashing paper removed. Remember, you're going to install the side pieces first so that the top piece can go over the ones on the side. I'm giving you an idea of what it would look like here. You usually hold it back 1/4 of an inch if you're going to have a 1/4 of an inch reveal. You can put the jamb or the stucco molding any trim. You could move it flush. You can give yourself a 1/2 inch reveal here, 1/4 inch, 1/8 of an inch, whatever you feel is necessary. Just don't go 1.5 inches, otherwise it's not going to work too good. I should say the thickness of the jamb. Give you an idea what the paper looks like here, again with the 1/4 inch reveal. 1/4 inch is kind of the most standard reveal in the industry, 1/8 of an inch to 1/4. My boss, I did a lot of these garage jambs, and he was a stickler on it. He wanted 1/4 inch reveal all the way around. Here's something that will work for lap siding and a few other finishes, and that would be some type of a 2x4, 2x2 trim, 2x3 trim, and it will install the same way as the stucco molding over the flashing paper. And this is one way to create the corner, have the top run over and the bottom underneath. You don't want to have the top or the side piece run up to the top because that creates a spot for water to leak in. Always going to be better to do it like this. Again, you can see how it works with the flashing paper. Inside reveal again. And then, of course, here's a mitered corner, just providing you with another idea. And, of course, this one is flush with the door jamb. So this isn't. We've got the 1/4 inch reveal here, but this one is flush. If you want to create a flush jamb and a trim like we have here, you would just run it all the way around the perimeter of the inside of the opening. If you are going to use the 2x for a stucco trim, make sure that you cut a little notch out of it here. And this is simply a 45-degree angle, about a 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch, leaving at least an inch. I've seen people go a little bigger with these grooves, but sometimes the stucco doesn't cover them. So be aware of that. I know a lot of people think, I'm going to apply 1 inch of stucco, and they end up applying 3/4 of an inch of stucco, and their groove or their notch is exposed there. So you can see here how the stucco, when finished, will get behind the groove and provide you with a little more protection. And of course, that's what we're always looking for with our home building projects. And here's the groove here, go all the way around the perimeter of the frame there. And if you're going to install plywood siding, this is one method you could use. You can notch the trim, leave the jamb flush, and then have the flashing paper nice and straight, and this can go over it. Idea there. Plywood goes behind it. And you can also install a water table metal over the top of the trim, and this of course just provides you with some extra protection. Now this wouldn't be necessary on stucco, but for siding it's just going to provide you with another layer of protection. Is it something you need to have? Well, I like water tables are something that like I said, they're going to keep a certain amount of water from leaking behind this and maybe possibly absorbing into the wood, rotting it out a little faster. So do I like them? Yes, I do. So water tables over the top of the garage trim for 2x materials or other materials where it would make sense can be beneficial also. In our last example here, I will show you how to use the plywood siding and then bring the jamb out and make it a little bit longer, and then use the full 2x material there for your trim. And you can see here where the flashing paper simply wraps around the door jamb and creates a nice seal here. So you're going to need to leave a little gap here. I have this stuff turning at a 90-degree angle. That's not going to happen with your flashing paper. I like to leave about maybe 1/4 of an inch here, and then that gives this enough room to make the transition work nice. So you'll have the jamb stick out the width of the siding. If you're using 5/8 T111, make sure it sticks out at least 5/8 of an inch. I like to go another 1/8 of an inch on this just in case I have problems with the plywood or little indiscrepancies. Can't tell you how many times I've done something like this and made it exact and ended up with a gap between the door jamb and the trim, the 2x trim that needed to be caulked. Then you would install the siding and then the trim, and then that is it. So that's it for this video. I did think of a few more. I am probably going to make, there's another method for just having the stucco run right in to the jamb. And of course you can use J-metal if you're using stucco also. I'm going to try and cover that in another video. And of course I'll put a link here when it is done.